This episode of the Bear and the Beard podcast is brought to you by, well, you.
That's right, Fandomites. We have launched a Patreon for the show, and we're asking you to be a part of it.
We are going to take out only what is necessary to keep the show going and to keep attending live events every month.
And the amount of funds still in the Patreon after that will be donated to our friends over the Children's of Mississippi.
That's right. In return for your generosity, the different tiers will receive different things: spring store discounts, exclusive bonus content, freebies at live events, and more.
So it's a win-win-win.
Shut up and take my money.
You help us keep the cost of the show down, get cool perks, and donate to a great cause.
Sounds simple enough. Join the Patreon today and stay awesome,
stay bearded, and much love.
Spooky black and white formatting, monsters like vampires and other creatures of the night hung up on the wall, a deadly maze. This doesn't sound like Marvel, but it is. Werewolf by Night is the latest in the roster of special presentations from Marvel on Disney+. It gets its name from not only the character from the comic books, but the comic books that date back to 1953 from Atlas Comics, Marvel's predecessor. And this Halloween, myself, the Beard, and Nerdsquatch decided to sit down and talk about this very topic for our Halloween special. So, put down your weapons and grab your favorite Halloween snack. Your hunt is over. It's time for Werewolves, Hunters, and Man-Things, Oh My! A Halloween special by night. Right after this, please stand by.
What's this?
The Bear and the Beard podcast.
Who?
Just two nerdy guys talking nerdy things with their friends and fellow fandomites.
To be fair.
They may disagree or argue sometimes, but spreading positivity and love throughout the fandoms is the goal.
All right.
It's topical.
And the categories are...
It's funny. But it's always nerdtastic.
I beg your pardon.
Let's check it out.
Oh, yeah!
Go.
What's going on, Fandomites? Welcome to or back to the Bear and the Beard podcast. I am Robert the Bear. I am joined, as always, by my majestically bearded faithful co-host, Bearded Brian Guy, the Beard. Brosius, man, my guy.
Mayo Brosius, my dude, you feeling spooky?
I'm feeling very spooky, very spoopy, very all versions of the word. Also joined as now always, because pretty much always, third co-host of the show, social media sorcerer supreme, and soon to be Broadway star, or hopefully, Jay Nerdsquatch. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Insane.
I am so pumped about this.
So, little BTS here. This is our Halloween special episode. This is coming out Monday on Halloween 2022, but we are recording the Friday night before because, well, we got Halloween stuff to do this weekend. So, need time for editing. Also, a couple of weeks back now from recording, I went and saw Jay's Little Shop of Horrors. It was amazing. It was my first time seeing the show, and I really couldn't think of a better way to do it other than seeing it down there at the Center Players of Biloxi.
Center Stage.
Center Stage Biloxi. Very good job. I hope to catch many more shows there in the future. So just keep casting Jay, and you will for sure have my ticket money. So
Saw photos from it, and
I'll make sure they know that you said that, even if they don't. Our puppet designer, I don't know if I told y'all this, but have you ever seen the YouTube series like Fan Builds, where he builds like a Groot swing, and that is our puppet designer.
Really? Okay.
If you go back and watch, it's Tim with his little man bun and his beard. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
And so I've been trying to turn him. I'm going to try to turn him onto the podcast. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And his wife is the president, so they need to know that you just said that.
Yeah. Yeah, keep casting Jay, and you'll forever have my ticket money for sure.
And when I move down there, you'll have my money.
Yep.
Take my money.
Shut up and take my money.
We tonight, as a matter of fact, after recording, I'm going to see for the first time the Rocky Horror Picture Show here in Jackson. So that's going to be fun.
I'm a huge fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Mama Kim actually shared a memory of you dressed up as Frankenfurter a little while back. Maybe if we can find that, I'll plug it right here. But yeah, so that's going to be my first time seeing that show as well. Going to see it with Captain Sexy Beard and a few other of our friends, so that should be really fun. But
the freaking Capri, no less.
Right? Yeah.
That is incredible.
Thundering. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Also, hoping that I had a good time, knowing I'm going to. Saturday night, tomorrow night from recording, is our second annual Scare Orchard celebration at Dogma Tavern. I will be hosting Halloween trivia and then karaoke, and I'll be emceeing the costume contest. I'll be going as the Big Bad Wolf of Wall Street, so that should be fun. I got the animatronic mouth mover, face mask, and everything, so it's gonna be fun.
That's awesome. Yes.
And talk earlier, it looks awesome.
Yeah, and speaking of wolves, our Halloween topic for this year. Last year it was Supernatural and a discussion with a supernatural investigator. This year it is Disney Plus's Werewolf by Night.
A Marvel Studios special
presentation.
Which is something we're going to see a lot more, and I'm very happy about.
Can't wait. Before we get into Werewolf by Night and how much we loved it, because I know we did, I do want to talk about what you just said, Brian, the fact that we're going to see more of those. Reports coming from Disney Plus are that Marvel Studios is going to release an X-Men series of special presentations.
Wait, that wasn't just a meme online, that was official?
No, that was from Marvel Studios, is that they're planning. Now, it's not confirmed, but they're planning to do it.
It's not even a rumor at this point. I think it's like a leak, and we're just waiting. Like, yesterday somebody mentioned, I can say this now because it's public knowledge and Deadline reported on it, but somebody was like, I hear that they're writing Vision Quest and that Vision is getting his own show. And today, Deadline reported that Paul Bettany has signed on to be in Vision Quest about finding his memories.
Yes. I can't wait. It's going to be so good.
Speculating about that for a second, do we think that could all take place within his mind?
I don't know. I think we'll at least go to Wakanda because that's where his memories are. I think that it's going to connect directly to Wonder Man, though.
Oh, that'd be great.
Because Vision was given Simon Williams' conscious. I think it's going to connect straight to Wonder Man.
That would be cool. I would love to see that, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Just Marvel's coming out with a bunch of different stuff.
And I've also heard that they're moving straight to that format. That they don't even want to do shows anymore because it takes too long to get that story out. And so everything that introduces someone will just be an hour-long special. And
that's fine.
It's fine with me.
Cool. Well, I think we talked about that.
I want a season 2 of She-Hulk.
Oh yeah,
you're getting a season 2 of She-Hulk. You're getting a season 2 of Loki. You're getting a season 2 of She-Hulk. They're not going to stop the shows. I don't feel like they're just going to
from now on
lean more onto this format.
Yeah, because Wonder Man's a special. I hear Silver Surfer's getting just stuff like that.
We got the Guardians of the Galaxy special this Christmas. Yes. Which
are you the legendary Kevin
Bacon?
This very well could be the second to last time we see James Gunn direct Guardians of the Galaxy property.
Hey, that James Gunn news this week though.
Amazing, but if we never get Guardians because of it,
he said he's done with Marvel after Volume 3 though, so I mean,
and I can't really blame him for that.
Neither can I. I mean,
that means DC's in good hands.
I mean, I would imagine he's a little pissed off that they went over his head in Infinity War and killed a character that he was in the process of developing.
Yeah.
As far as I know, he never gave them the go ahead to kill her, and it really upset him.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
But like you said, at least DC's in good hands.
Oh, absolutely. Great
So,
hands.
Well, I think we should start every episode like that. Like, let's just talk about what just happened. Like,
Yeah, a
recently.
little news segment.
Today in nerd history.
That was
Weekend
great.
update.
Our next episode will be She-Hulk. By the way, I finally caught up on it, watched it. It was.
Oh, I didn't know you caught up.
I
We got to talk
Yep.
after the show.
I loved it. Loved every minute of it. I thought it was a great
Yay!
representation of the comic books brought to live action. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that next episode.
Yes.
But for this one, let's talk about this special presentation. Now, this Werewolf by Night, of course, very horror film oriented, right down to the black and white, which I guess let's click that in now. Yeah, we're going to go black and white the rest of this episode. And yeah, no, loss of color. So, the same tech, we talked about it in Thor Love and Thunder, being able to have certain colors represented and then the fade to full color at the end. Very well done visual effect wise. I loved it. Now, but Brian, you were telling me before I watched it that there was something that was actually practical with a little bit of CGI that you wouldn't have guessed.
I
Please
want to
tell me.
get to that, but I want to start with something else because I have a question for the two of you because
Okay.
I don't know a whole lot about the supernatural side of Marvel.
Mhm.
I've never read a lot of those comics. I mean, Moon Knight's the closest to the supernatural comics as I've gotten. So, what is the Bloodstone?
Was it in a meteor?
If I remember correctly, it is. Now, I was introduced to the Bloodstone storyline in the 90s Spider-Man animated series, where Elsa and all of them are actually big problems for the Webhead. But if I remember correctly, it is some sort of meteor. Because I mean, come on, most off-world things in Marvel are meteors. The Infinity Stones are left over from the creation of the universe.
Vibranium.
Adamantium came to the planet in the form of a meteorite. Vibranium became a thing because of a meteorite crashing into a metal ore, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's more than likely a meteorite, or asteroid something. But it enhances supernatural beings and then can also destroy them. It makes them reveal their true nature. If I remember correctly, there was a time where Kraven the Hunter wanted the Bloodstone. I don't know if he ever got it.
That makes sense.
But that could have been invented for the Spider-Man TV show as well.
And they didn't keep the idea that Ulysses is a caveman, which I found really, really interesting. Because in the comics, he's a caveman that's been around since then because of the stone.
They
But we
kind of
find
look
out in
like
the
a
special
caveman.
that he's
Right.
the son of somebody else who had it. So they've changed the origin.
Well, and I wonder if talking about DC again, I wonder if that's trying to kind of get away from copying DC because DC already has a character like
Vandal
Vandal Savage. So, maybe that was their way to kind of say, hey, this isn't the same character from that.
You know what? Now that's going to be a complaint from me, then, because if they could have made this guy not dead and made him like Vandal Savage, I would have dug that a lot.
I loved the scene with the ant's coffin having the keys in it. Like she was so sure she was going to come back to life. She needed an exit strategy. I loved that.
Didn't even remember, but yes.
The reason why I even brought up the Bloodstone is because that was the only bit of color we saw through this thing.
Mm-hmm. Until very, very end.
And the power that it ignited. And Bear, we were talking beforehand. I wonder what tech Marvel is using to cancel out all the other color and just focus on one color.
I guess they just splashed it with VFX.
That's what
I would think. That's the same thing they did in WandaVision.
But yeah, because they did it with WandaVision, they did it in Thor: Love and Thunder. We talked about where like the hammers gave off a light where you could see color, but that was in the negative
the
realm.
shadow realm, yeah.
The shadow realm. So
which would be really cool if this, the way they explain this happening in this is because all the supernatural things take place
Right.
in the Shadow Realm.
I didn't even think about that. That'd be
So-
interesting.
What were those guards? Were those not TVA? Because they looked like TVA.
I think they were just hired guns to protect them.
Hired goons or thugs or henchmen, whichever you. What
So-
what did Daredevil say in
Henchmen
She-Hulk?
and goons, baby. They're two
Henchmen's
different
and
things.
goons, different meanings.
So I do want to get back to your question, though, Bear. That there's two things in this show that were practical that watching you wouldn't have known. Man thing, practical.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, blew my mind when you told me that. The fact that there is a practical suit being controlled or some, to whatever extent that is. It's not a green screen guy like Rocket Raccoon and Guardians or Groot. It's an actual suit. Now, of course, they add some CGI for movement, but still, like, that's amazing. That is practical. And you said the
werewolf, when he turns into a werewolf, that's completely practical.
That's a hairy man right there. As a straight hairy man.
That is Jack Russell in all kinds of prosthetics. And Jay and I talked. We love how they kept the tattoos.
Yeah.
Or the face paint. They keep
Or
the
face paint, yeah.
And another thing that I found interesting that was done in real time was when it shot at Elsa when he's transforming and it's flashing behind her and showing his shadow. They literally did that in real time. They slowed the strobe light down and kept switching out between Gail Bernal and the dude dressed in the costume. So it's literally done in real time.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know
Oh,
that.
so that's not the same actor who played Jack Russell playing the werewolf?
It is when we see him, but they could just do a switch because it's shot from a different angle. It's shot from his side. Right.
And that's one of the horror movie tropes. I mean, we talked about how this,
it is Universal monsters.
Yeah, it's definitely based off all the classics, the Nosferatu and the original Frankenstein's monster. And the
there it is,
man.
Yes. Yeah, so definitely pays great homage to that. Even I noticed the little cuts. The
cigarette burns.
Yeah, the little cigarette burns.
Yes. Oh, that was awesome.
Which I only knew to look for those because of Fight Club. So,
and I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up while we're talking about the genius of this. But this special was directed by Michael Giacchino, who is a composer.
Really?
He composed the music for Doctor Strange. The bum ba 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 bum bum ba ba ba, that big Avengers fanfare, that's his music. I mean, he did No Way Home. He's been doing music forever.
That's
and
awesome.
He did brilliant.
They just let him direct, and this is what happens.
Disney
also,
making dreams come
little
true.
Little Squatch Talk segment. He's also gay. That's awesome.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep. Like
he's
that's
fantastic.
Really cool. Yeah,
love him to death.
So when I went into this, I didn't know what was happening. I knew there was going to be a werewolf. I knew there was some kind of hunt.
I've never read the
honestly, for some reason, I didn't put it together at first that Jack Russell, because like I said, I didn't know anything about Werewolf by Night before this. I didn't know that Jack Russell was the werewolf. I thought they were going to be hunting the werewolf.
Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield's the werewolf.
No, he said he's not the werewolf.
I know.
That's what the werewolf would say.
But what they were hunting was Man-Thing, and man, when he's pissed, he can be brutal.
Yeah, when people are afraid, he will burn you with that pheromone.
Look,
yep.
I have much respect for Swamp Thing from the DC universe.
It's the same thing.
But Man-Thing is so much cooler to me, and I don't know why.
Well, because he's a multiversal being for me. Right. I love that.
It's because his name is Ted.
And it's because his name is Ted.
What is his name? It's Ted.
Ted,
I want to
do
a Ted cosplay and a Ted the Bear cosplay so badly. Like, I want to do both. Swap them out.
I loved how this was actually like a thrilling thriller.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't scary. at all, but
It
this
was gory.
a thriller. It kept you on the edge of your seat. You felt the intensity of them being in danger. When they're locked in the cage and they're forcing him to change, you honestly don't know. Is he going to kill her? Maybe?
Yeah.
Possibly? Like, the tension is real.
The whole you got to remember me, you can't break eye contact, like I need to remember you can't break eye contact, like all that just it screamed supernatural episode to me. Like when you have the not regretful, what's the where you don't want to be a monster but you know that you are, so you take all the precautions. Like I love that kind of story. It's the I don't want to be in this situation, but I am. So here's what we're going to do to try to make the best of it. And I loved that. Like, and you're right. I was on the edge of my seat most of the time. I had never read the comic, but it was such a well done special presentation. And this also opens up for like, because now that we know hunters exist, well, Blade's a hunter. So this opens up for Blade. This opens up
also means
so much.
Dracula could be knocking about somewhere.
I'm pretty sure that Elsa was directly referring to Blade when she said that she wasn't trained by her father, but by somebody else. I'm pretty sure she was directly talking about Blade.
Can we all be sad for a second about the fact that we might not be getting this Blade movie?
I heard yesterday that they might have a director, so I'm hoping.
Well, from what I also heard, Mahershala Ali's backing out.
I didn't know he was backing out. I heard he was pissed off, but I didn't know he was backing out.
Well, I heard there's talks he might not be wanting to be involved, and he was a perfect casting. That's really going to put a damper on the movie. Because you can tell Marvel really wants to lean into this supernatural side, and I want it. It's exciting. But we got to have Blade.
Yeah, you can't do it without Blade.
I need Blade and Moon Knight team up. I need that.
I gotta say, I better not see one vampire in the MCU. I better not see one damn vampire until Blade shows up. Blade should be the first vampire I ever see.
Do we think Saracen is a vampire then?
Okay, if he actually is a vampire,
that would make him a daywalker.
That would be okay. That would make him a daywalker.
Yeah, make him a daywalker.
That character from She-Hulk, like that whole group was amazing. And
I'm pretty sure that big old bat thing on the wall was a vampire too. I'm pretty sure that was just like the monster form of a vampire that they had mounted.
It definitely looked. It had underworld-esque looks to it, like for their like form of a vampire. I love that. While we're talking about Blade, I do want to mention that Blade, the first Blade movie starring Wesley Snipes, was actually the first Marvel film. It wasn't the first Marvel Studios film, but it was the first Marvel film, and we owe a lot to that franchise because without that, those these kind of movies wouldn't be being made. So. The third one was a little bit hard to watch because Wesley Snipes didn't want to do the third one, and
Blade was before Spider-Man?
Yeah. Blade 1 came out I think the year before Spider-Man, as a matter of fact.
Because I remember watching Spider-Man when I was in first grade.
I wanna make sure that I'm
pretty sure it was before, because I think it was in like 1990. 1998,
yeah, Blade 1, 1998, then Blade 2, 2002, and Blade Trinity, 2004.
And Spider-Man was 2000.
Yep.
Wow.
That's amazing.
2002, as a matter of fact, was Spider-Man. So,
I thought Spider-Man 2 was 2002.
Google
no, you're right.
Spider-Man 2002.
That was 3 years later.
Yeah, so, So if it wasn't for Blade, we wouldn't have an MCU. And that's really why I want them to do a Blade movie. Bring it back, to the roots. Even if you retell the same story with a different actor, I'm cool with that.
But not to mention, apparently what I heard was that it was going to be set in the Roaring 20s and that it was going to be like Art Deco vampires. Oh my God.
That'd be awesome. That would be so cool.
Man.
I want to talk about the weapons for a second. Can we talk about the weapons that were featured in this Werewolf by Night? So I love the taser staffs. I don't know why. I just really like those. But the
Yeah.
very
It
Assassin's
kind of gave me a
Creed-esque-
Yes.
hidden blade aspect. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And the fact that the big dude, I don't even know his name.
Joven, I think is
Joven.
what is it?
Joven,
Yeah.
he died.
He
so
had to have that
perfectly.
axe. Like he had to have it. He had to go back and find it. It was so well done. The grabber that they used to snatch the stone at the very end. The little sticky bomb that wouldn't stick.
Yeah, yep.
And they've
Why-
honestly gotten away from a trope that happens in a lot of action films where the main character who's fighting or the main characters are just instantly amazing at fighting. We didn't see Jack Russell do
Yep,
any
yep.
fighting
Mm-mm.
until he was a werewolf. And Elsa Bloodstone, although she could hold her own,
But she was a
wasn't.
very amateur
struggled.
fighter. Yes.
Yeah, she was in danger. She could have died in any of those fights.
Yep. I
Um,
completely agree.
I
it was
really
very
thought
well
that Joven was going to kill her. I was like, I thought this was supposed to be main character. Is he about to kill her? Because he
Right.
was overpowering her.
Yep. It was so well done, and the
End
fact,
the redhead erasure, Hollywood. End it.
right?
Why was she a brunette? I don't understand. We exist.
Another favorite thing of mine talking about fighting was when the werewolf started taking on all of the hunters, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
could tell, like, even with all of his supernatural power and all of his aggression, he still had to think on how to take them all out, which was very
Yeah.
very
Well, it's really
balanced.
cool when Jack is looking around at the busts on the wall,
Mhm.
so that he knows where the shadows are, so that when
Yep.
he turns, he can go sit there and hide. It was so cool, so
It
well
really
thought
was.
out.
And the reason why he had to be careful was because they are trained to take out people like him.
Right.
Like, and that's one thing with the trope. Usually in the trope, it would just be he just massacres them, which he did massacre though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because he couldn't struggle at all. They held their own. He was just better. And
And then
man,
he wound up
when he was
wound up
Just a
killing
little
those
bit.
guards,
killing
and
the
the blood
guards.
splattered on the
Brutality.
That's great. Yeah.
Oh, that was just
My favorite though is Verussa getting thrown into the coffin. Just
Yeah,
I like this
great. When Ted just grabs her and throws her charge into that box. Oh my god.
I know her from something. That actress.
She's a sitcom actress, I think.
I'm gonna do some
Huh.
quick googling.
It's
Yeah.
like Harriet Sansom Harris, but I can't remember what else she was in.
The and talking about this scene too, talking about practical, they had that can't be a special effect they added in later. I think they actually threw something at the camera.
I don't
imagine
know.
they
That
probably
blood
had-
looks really fake in the back. Maybe they just added it all.
Well, I think they
It
added,
could've-
like, they did
because-
a blank where they were throwing it for the splatter and then added in everything later, but still
They could have had a blood ripped open.
that too. But the way, because throughout that scene, as the camera moves, it gets more and more blood on it.
It does.
blocking
Yeah.
the vision. So to me, that was a very Hitchcock move. Like, just because he was like one of the greats that used horror and blood, which chocolate syrup, because it was black screen. They didn't need it to be red. But I love that. I thought it was very well done. Just overall, just the whole thing. It was a great special presentation. It was a great way to kick off the Halloween season, because it got posted about 2 weeks ago. So I think something like that. So yeah, like right around the beginning of October, it was like,
I
hey,
think it was right. It was the day. Was it October 10th?
I can't remember, but I do think it was very
October
very good.
9th, because it
to
was a
have
week
it in
before the
October.
show opened.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just took me forever to watch it. So
But man, it's so good.
all the hunters getting their comeuppance at the end was very very good.
And I just have to say, I think this has the most brutal kill in the MCU when Elsa takes that sword and just plants it in that other hunter's head.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I noticed this. I don't know how well y'all are like on BTS and historical accuracy, but that is how people would do more damage with swords in like medieval sword fighting. They get it right in Game of Thrones, they get it right in a few other shows, but most of the time it's because swords aren't for slashing. They're for combat, and normally you either stab or you do damage like that, where you're just trying to pretty much,
Crack open their
axe
Well, like you
your
would
way
remove an
through
arm
someone's
that
body.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw it in Game of Thrones with the horse death scene, where the mountain, like, just one swipe, like, takes out the horse, and that's how you did more damage. It's not poking. A sword's not for poking, and they tell us that in Game of Thrones, because Needle and Sansa, or not Sansa, Arya. So I thought that was really a really cool addition. Like, hey, this is enough to kill. It doesn't have to go through them. It doesn't have to do all this. It was a really cool little tidbit, and when I saw that, I was like, they got that right, and I love that. That's awesome.
So the reason I think that the blood splatter was also practical, like thrown blood, is because Marvel, back when they did WandaVision,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing the black and white thing, they really stuck to making sure when she was using her magic, they had the pulleys and stuff like that. They didn't use special effects. Yeah. And this director, it seemed like he was really taking a 1940s, 1930s approach, and that would be how they would do it. I think the reason why they did practical for the werewolf, practical as much as they could for Man Thing, is because they wanted to make this as much as with the technology they would use in that time as they could to really give it that feel.
And they
now,
definitely built for sure. They definitely built this animatronic. This
or
this
it's a person in makeup just moving like a robot. But it's probably a robot. It's probably an animatronic.
Yeah, it's probably an animatronic. And if it is a person, you can't tell me they didn't build one first just to go, we need you to match this movement.
I think it's an animatronic because when I watched the trailer, I was wondering, where is Marvel going with this? Because when I saw that little movement thing, I'm like, this feels like it's going to be cheesy. No, not cheesy. But that's what I originally thought, and I love the way
it was campy. I mean, it was campy in a perfect way. It was pretty campy.
Yeah. But all of those movies from that time frame were like you can't go back and watch The Creature from the Black Lagoon or Nosferatu or anything like that.
Take it completely seriously.
It's like watching classic Scooby-Doo, like when it first came out. It's campy. It's all basic animation, the scroll screen of scenery. It's all that, but it's still amazing. Yeah, you can go back and watch that just like you can the new, and it's awesome.
Now, the reason you mentioned earlier that there's a chance this could have taken place in the Shadow Realm, the reason why I think that's not true is because we saw the story take place after everything was brought back to color.
Yeah, that's true. We did.
I want to talk about that for a second, because that was really beautiful how when she just sitting there, the color slowly came back, and it honestly reminded me back again to WandaVision, when the color comes to WandaVision, and it slowly spread out.
Everything this phase is Wizard of Oz. For some reason, everything this phase, even Quantumania, even Quantumania has Wizard of Oz tidbits. Like, crazy.
The somewhere over the rainbow, as the color starts coming in, that just it solidified it. I was like, this is Wizard of Oz right here. This is
right.
And that's another film from around those
30s,
decades
40s.
where they had to have taken some inspiration from the special effects of that.
And I know you've never seen Rocky Horror, so I'm going to try to avoid spoilers, but They almost did the same thing with that, where for the first 30 minutes before Tim Curry shows up, it was going to be completely black and white. And the minute Frankenfurter reveals that he's wearing women's clothes, it was going to immediately splash to color. So they were going to do the same thing.
I can't wait to watch that movie tonight.
Dude.
Like I've been putting it off. Like I thought about watching it the other day because it's on Hulu. And I was like,
Oh, it's
no,
on Hulu.
I wanna,
It
I
is.
wanna
We're
watch
watching it this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want
need
to
to
watch
watch
it
it.
with my friends.
It's
So.
probably been about a decade since I've watched it.
God, I love
Decade.
that. I love that movie.
We need to sit down one day, like even though I'm older than both of you, we really need to sit down one day and just go down a list of movies that I have not seen that are iconic and see if y'all's list matches up with mine. Because
Hey, I just want you to catch up on Doctor Who.
I get a lot of crap for it. Like I tell people, like I've never seen Roadhouse. I've never seen
haven't
the
either.
original. I've never seen the
have
original
never seen
Top
it.
Gun. I've never seen Dirty Dancing.
Okay,
Like
I'm gonna give an unpopular opinion that some of our listeners and viewers may not like. Top Gun's overrated. Now I have not seen Top Gun 2. I have not seen Top Gun 2, and maybe that one's actually good.
I've heard it's pretty good.
Maverick
Top
was
Gun
actually
1
really good. I've never seen the first one, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But the fact that they actually gave the actors flight training to get the realistic camera angles inside the planes was an amazing detail, and it made the movie that much better.
A lot of the movies that I love, my dad showed me growing up. He's the reason why I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. And that's one movie that he showed me and told me this is a good movie that I watched and thought, Dad, you're freaking nuts. And every time I tell him that I hate Top Gun, he's like, you're not my son.
Well, to all the people out there that like Tom Cruise, I personally don't like all of his movies because he plays the same character in all of his movies. Middle tooth. That's all I have to say. Middle tooth, because once you actually see it, you can't unsee
There's
it.
another thing. I can't put my finger on it, but I think it rhymes with Mayan biology.
Anyway, but yeah, we do need to do that one day. Just talk classic movies that we have or have not seen and why they're iconic. I think that'd be fun.
I've only seen the first Godfather.
Oh my God, you're right. Middle tooth.
Middle tooth. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
What are you talking about?
Tom Cruise has a middle tooth.
In between these?
Yep.
Well,
No, he does not.
It's the regular.
Oh, no, I'm never gonna.
It's the regular tooth, but it's just moved over to be directly under his nose. His second tooth is like it's just like it's all shifted over.
Oh no!
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh no! I don't want to. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Where are you looking it up?
Yes, I am. Tom Cruise middle tooth. Hold on, I'm gonna put it in the yard.
Oh no!
Yeah,
oh, no.
Yep, we're doing this. We're doing this.
Oh, on the stream too. You
On
all
the
get
stream.
to experience.
Boom!
No! No! What?
Yep.
Oh no! That's
And Brian said it right. It's it's the
second
right
tooth.
it's
number of
normal.
teeth.
It's just to the right.
Shifted
just-
over.
Yeah. Once
I
you
wonder
see
if
it, you
that
can't
was the
unsee it.
result of like something going wrong with wisdom. I don't know. That is weird.
Yeah, it's probably when the alien spirit inhabited his body or whatever. I don't know what Scientologists believe, and I'm not going to knock you for believing it. I think he's really, really on another level about it, and that's why I make fun of him about it. So,
Everybody makes fun of
Well,
Tom
to
Cruise.
be
South Park
fair-
did a whole episode.
To be fair, Tom Cruise kind of made fun of himself in Family Guy about it.
Oh, yeah.
so.
Yeah, Tiny
right,
Tom
and
Cruise.
that's great. Good for him. Team player.
But yeah,
Tiny Tom Cruise.
Tiny Tom Cruise. So favorite aspect or just favorite thing about Werewolf by Night for each
The
of you.
comic accuracy that they went to, and this is something Marvel's really striving towards with everything we've seen on Disney Plus. They're trying to make it look the way it looked in the comics. I mean, they could have gone any way with the werewolf.
And
They
his
could have made it
pants
the
were
big
green.
brute.
You just couldn't tell.
The fact that it was the same build looking type thing, and then Man Thing literally looks like it was ripped out of
He's
the comic.
ripped out of the comic.
Yeah,
This is just
Man Thing's
on-
the most comic accurate thing in this universe so far. I mean, that was insane.
on the werewolf thing, like he's not jacked. He's not
No.
built. He's not he's not an imposing man, first off. And then when he transforms, he just gets hairy. Like, it's very unlike, Underworld. I brought that up.
Right, and the
franchise up
murals
earlier.
on the wall of the castle had snout having ear having werewolves. Like, what is the difference? Is it because I'm going to say it's because he was born that way.
Yeah.
Because he was born this way. And maybe werewolves that are turned take on a more animalistic appearance. Or
Maybe
the longer
we'll have
you've
to have
been a
more
werewolves.
Yeah. Show up.
Well, he's been both.
out.
Like the second Werewolf by Night, who was a different person, has a more dog-looking form.
Mm.
A bigger, more dog-looking.
And how much of that is just the artist that drew that comic, and how much of it is?
And they totally did it here as a reference to the Wolfman. It wasn't. It was meant to look like that exactly, because he doesn't look like a wolf. He's just hairy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just a really hairy guy, just with fangs,
with teeth and claws.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
I think my favorite thing had to be Elsa's little side story going on. She's not the main character, but she's one of the main characters. The fact that she had her little spat with her stepmother, and just the little jabs that she throws all throughout the thing. The chair drag.
Will Smith Men in Black chair thing.
Yeah. Them going, "Where's her medallion?" And she's like, you can shove it up your, whatever attitude that she had. And just, I think that was my favorite. Like, that had to be my favorite thing. And then at the end, it was like, he wanted you to come back. I held out hope that you would return. And this is how, now you've helped not one, but two monsters escape. It's like, oh man, it was so well done. Such a good.
So that's my question. How are we going to do monster hunters? Because now it seems like they've already set the precedent that monsters are misunderstood and sympathetic.
Well, not every monster is the same.
Vampires, I can understand that they would have different factions because they're human. You know what I mean?
Well, so Jack still explains that he's not in control when he's a werewolf.
That's true.
So basically, this kind of puts it into perspective of the hunters see them as monsters because when he's a werewolf, he's probably hurt innocent people because he's not in full control. So they see themselves as the heroes, and they've depicted him as this unholy, disgusting thing. But they're wrong about that. There's a soul in there. There's a real human being within there.
Exactly. He's just a cursed human. He's nothing other. Exactly. Just like
there's a very good chance that there's other people who are in the supernatural side who aren't as benevolent as Jack Russell. They probably love the damage that they do. Yeah. And so there could be other factions of hunters that are trying to protect the world from those threats.
Well, just like you said, I think the difference between Ted and Jack and the rest of the monsters is that when they were born, they were human. Because Ted had a Swamp Thing origin. He was a scientist who got up in the wrong stuff, and AIM went after him, and he drank a serum and went into a swamp and became a monster. He wasn't always that way. Jack.
I know a werewolf, and I know this werewolf Theon. He struggles with anger quite a lot.
I mean, did we have him on the show at one point?
Theon broke in, tied me up, and took over
in
episode 1. But that was a long time ago.
If with them doing this, with them kind of doing the whole monsters are misunderstood, it wouldn't be too hard for them to go the route of supernatural. And I know I keep coming back to that because that was our last year's Halloween special, but it fits because there's a lot in some of the earlier seasons where Sam and Dean are at odds with each other because Dean's like, it's a monster and he's to die. And he's like, but it's also a human that doesn't want to be doing this, the regrettable monster that
is it the first episode? I can't say the word because I'm a big believer in the fact that words can summon.
Right.
but it's it starts with a W and it's a Native American entity, and
Oh yeah.
but even that is a human spirit.
Yep.
In folklore, that is a human spirit that committed an atrocity, and when it died, that's what it became.
I think you're right, because I think in that episode, I think that was what you were talking about.
No, it was. It absolutely was.
It's a
and
guy
they tell
that's
you not to
turning
say
into
the
one
word.
of those,
Yeah.
and he doesn't want to. And Sam's like, "We need to save this guy." Dean's like, "No, he needs to die. He's turning into a monster. He's not going to have a chance," and so on and so forth. So yeah, if they do that, I agree with both of you. There's going to be some monsters out there that love what they do,
just like the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Just
And it would
like the
also
Skrulls.
be very easy for them to switch that same narrative over to mutants.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
easy.
I'm sitting here wondering how we're going to do that, but we're also learning that there are still people with prejudices here. Absolutely. And I think the way Marvel's going to do it, and people may not like what I'm getting ready to say, but I think the majority of the X-Men are going to be people of color.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. How do you not do that?
Well, the story of the mutants, story of the mutants has always been that story.
Yep.
Oh
So
yeah,
it makes
Jubilee
sense.
and Bishop. I mean, but now I think even more main characters like
Mhm.
Jean Grey and Scott could end up being black. I mean, I would love
Rogue.
John Boyega as Scott Summers.
And
There's a fan casting that's been going on about Rogue. I can't remember her name.
Key Palmer.
Yes.
Key Palmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen
Do
the
it.
images.
Do
and
it, you
looks-
cowards.
It looks like it needs to happen.
She's perfect. She's absolutely perfect.
For one, I've been watching back through the old animated series, and what I can't wait for once we get the X-Men established, and this kind of speaks to the monster trend too, is there were the X-Men, which they can blend in with normal society. They're humans, but then there's like Nightcrawler who can't.
Yeah.
And
Toad
and Toad, but then there was this whole, I can't remember what they called themselves, but they lived down in the sewers, and they all didn't fit in with normal society.
I remember this.
Yeah. It was, for some reason, Storm had to lightsaber battle, or
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The leader or whatever. But like I said, I can't remember what they called themselves, but that was a huge trope, was them just doing the whole, hey, you might be a mutant, but you, Scott Summers, you look normal. Like,
right.
you can blend in.
You get the pass.
Right. Whereas, Nightcrawler cannot. He's blue. People are going to know who he is.
And then there's Mystique, who is blue, but has the ability to change. So
yeah. I can't wait for more of this. This is going to be awesome.
And I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Do you think there's a chance that Marvel could start giving us holiday specials every year with different variations of different characters or different stories?
I would love it if every year's Halloween special, up until they do a movie, introduced a member of the Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
I would really like that.
But I hope they keep doing these specials, because one thing that's really making Disney Plus feel like a channel.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you watch TV as a kid, you wait for the holidays, and ABC or whatever it is, they'll have the holiday specials.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love if Disney stuck to that and had a special Marvel presentation, even if it's a short thing.
Yeah. For Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it was the Halloween heists. I love those episodes from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So yeah.
Nine-Nine?
I maybe not every holiday, maybe if they picked one.
Well, like main holidays, like Halloween, Christmas.
Yeah.
Halloween and Christmas.
If you're gonna work on a Halloween one for 1 year, do it. Do it big. If you're gonna do a Christmas one, and see, that's the other thing about Disney Plus though, is they have so many franchises that they could do that with. So if we don't get one for every major holiday from Marvel specifically,
we could get another Star Wars.
Then yes, I still want a Star Wars, because the original one is hard to watch. But a lot of people don't want to say that it exists. But so give me a Christmas, give me a Christmas special on Marvel side, and then maybe go over to Star Wars or something like that, which I I sat down and watched the Treehouse of Horrors.
Oh my god,
which
dude!
that's
I
a
don't watch
Simpsons
Simpsons
staple.
religiously,
Yeah,
but that's what I watch every
they
year.
did it part 1 and part 2. For the one I watched, I think it was this season's. But supposedly they're supposed to be going to the Death Note universe for one.
They
so
did
I
that
think-
this year. One of them is Death
that this
Note,
year's?
and it is
Okay.
anime. It
I gotta
is
watch that.
literally anime.
for sure.
I just thought of something.
Oh, I thought of something too, but you go first. What?
Because you know Disney watches our show all the time.
Of course.
Absolutely. Hey, Kevin.
Next Halloween.
Hey, the
Kevin.
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 VIN.
Next Halloween, give us a thriller story of Darth Vader.
Show us.
Make me super terrified of the Lord of Darkness.
The dude is the greatest villain
Yep.
of all time, and yet we aren't necessarily terrified of him. He's the greatest
I was
villain
terrified
because
in
we
that
love
Rogue
him.
One scene. I want
Yeah.
literally
My guy
pulling
has
from that
12
Rogue
minutes
One
in New
scene,
Hope.
and I want more of that. The
Yeah.
terrifying, the lurking, the guy you don't want coming
From the
at you.
comic books. People are
Yes.
like, Anakin Skywalker was a victim. No, he was a monster by choice, too.
Yep.
When he was Darth Vader, he was a monster by choice.
Which
Exactly.
we talked about in our Obi-Wan episode.
Yeah,
We
we did.
got that right there too, because he was just torturing people as walking along. He is a force to be reckoned with, and that would be a perfect Halloween special,
I agree.
because you could make that terrifying.
A Jedi being hunted only by him.
Yep. In
And
his
even
early
if
days
it's-
of being Vader.
To kind of inspire by Bear's idea about the never seen Batman type thing, you don't really see Vader a whole lot, except for
Yes.
he's coming. You
Yep.
hear the voice, you hear the
The
You hear
breathing.
the breathing.
the shadow.
You see the lightsaber, the glow
Yes.
red.
Kind
That
of
would
like
be
how
awesome.
when they enter the maze at the first time and you can see Ted's shadow up in the back corner.
Yep.
I love that. And okay, I know we're not talking about it, but we talked about Mystique, and this just hit me while I was sitting here. But Amelia Clarke is in Secret Invasion, and everybody's arguing about who she's playing, whether she's playing Abigail Brand or Varenka the Skrull, whatever.
She's
But what
obviously
if-
going to be the mother of dragons. Come on,
But
guys.
what if it's revealed, because it's a shapeshifter show, what if it's revealed at the end that one of them isn't a Skrull? It's Raven. I mean, what if we follow her thinking she's a Skrull, but she turns out to be Raven Darkholme?
We need a mind blown GIF in here.
I know.
Like,
Just make one
'cause
out of what he
that
just
This
did.
is the closest I have.
yeah,
The closest I have.
Fine.
that's
What's going on in my brain
yeah,
right now.
I never even thought of that. Amelia Clarke would play a great Raven.
I think it'd just be pretty dope.
That'd be
You're
pretty
like,
cool.
oh yeah, she's just a Skrull because that's what they. Oh no, it's
Jay,
Raven.
you
And it's
just
a
did
spy
something,
thriller.
though.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
You just did something awful though now.
What?
Because now when I watch Secret Invasion, if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be disappointed.
I'm gonna be sad.
Me
I'm gonna be a
too.
Thanks
little
a lot.
sad. Yeah.
Shouldn't have said it.
Because now that's my expectation. Make her Raven or kick her out.
Right.
I
Well,
think she'd be great.
that would
I
be
also
that
think
would be a
Ana de
great
Armas
plot
would be
line
great.
as to why a certain fraction of the scrolls are actually turning evil. Is that they have a commander who is not actually a scroll but pretends to be one. Yet,
Right.
is turning their, back to the root. Like we were always made out to be the villains. Why don't we actually be the villains? And
And then
then
there's the twist that she's just a human with a mutation. And
Yeah.
then maybe they turn on her, and that's
That'd be
what
cool.
sets her off on the path to meeting Eric
Yeah.
and becoming a part of the Brotherhood.
or if it was just Magneto's idea to begin with.
That's possible too. Seizing the opportunity to get one of his own right up in
Yeah.
there.
See, I'm going to have a hard time with them bringing in Magneto, though, unless they do a slight retcon and make it so that way the twins were just adopted.
See, that would be great.
Yeah.
If we find out that Wanda and Pietro were like adopted because he just didn't want anything to do with them. Because, what's up?
Speaking from personal experience, I know of a way that they could do that if they just did it to where the father wasn't actually their biological father.
That's true. Maybe he met their mother while she was pregnant.
Exactly. Or she just never thought that they were not his kid. Not to
That's also true.
go down the Jerry Springer trail.
You know
of
what?
But here's the
Storyline.
other
It could
thing.
just be a headcanon now.
But-
Anyways,
Yeah,
even if it doesn't
exactly.
happen.
But I mean,
Headcanons.
I essentially adopted my oldest child,
Right.
not legally, but I took over that role, and that could be something the MCU could do. It's another father story, and when Wanda finds out, she'd be devastated.
Right,
that
another
would give us
thing for
A
her to.
whole nother reason for her to
If
go
she isn't
psycho
dead.
after she's kind of come to terms with not being psycho. So that would be pretty cool, honestly.
I was just. What was I gonna? Oh, and here's another thing. If they're gonna bring Magneto in, I think that the audience is gonna have a hard time if they don't finally acknowledge that he's not really a villain.
Yeah.
Because he's inspired by Malcolm X. The only thing about it is that he is more forceful and violent with his methods. But he's still a champion of mutant rights.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and
I never really think... And again, making him a villain and keeping his origin story is practically one of the worst things you could do.
Well, that's another thing I want to talk about with Magneto. I know this is way off track from Werewolf by Night, but we've pretty
It's
much
not off
talked
track.
that. We've talked that. We're still in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
When I did my Comic Con episode at the York thing, I talked with Dave from Dave's Cards and Comics, and Magneto is one of his favorite characters.
Me too.
And one thing that fans hate is when they completely change a character's background. But he brought up they have to. I mean, right now it's really, really, really hard.
And it's
to
in
make him a
2025.
Holocaust.
It'd be like having an 86-year-old on the battlefield.
They need to change the story, and as long as they make it something as impactful as that,
I wrote a whole
it's
pitch.
okay. Because and fans need to accept the fact that if you want these stories to be told for another 10, 15 years, they're going to have to change some things because I mean, they had to change stuff from original
Put
comic
it in
books for Captain
1960s America.
Captain
in the
America.
South,
Captain
and make
America
him black.
wasn't
Yes.
under the ice for 70 years originally.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because he served with Nick Fury.
Right. But in 2012, I mean, the ice preserved him. So really,
Yeah.
it's kind of believable. But like with Eric, unless you say that his mutation is also... They never state that it slows his aging.
Nope.
They never really say that. So here, like I said,
Although,
make
let's
him
be
a,
honest.
make
with
him
all
a
the
black
time-
man and put it in Alabama in the 1960s.
Yep.
Maybe his parents are killed by cops. And he just completely goes off the rails because he learns that he could have stopped it.
Yeah.
Because bullets are made of metal. He realizes he could have stopped that from happening, and that's what makes him kind of a bad guy.
He realizes literally an hour too late that he could have saved them.
Right. What if he's like a kid and
This
he
is true.
watches it happen and he gets so mad that he like crushes something metal and it's like, I could have stopped that?
Yep.
Yep.
I can't remember what Dave's explanation was, but it was something in a whole other country where there was a similar situation to what
But
happened.
people have been anti-Semitic
Holocaust.
forever. He could still be Jewish.
Yeah.
And so
there's been worldwide, there's been several atrocities,
Human
on the
stuff,
level of the
basically.
Holocaust. Yeah. They just don't have a world war to be attached to them most of the time. So yeah, no, that'd be great.
Now, Wolverine, again, because Wolverine, it's stated
Wolverine's
that his
ageless.
aging is slowed.
Yeah.
Keep it. He needs to be Canadian. He needs it. Jared
Well-
Piso has won my heart. Y'all have won.
my fan casting's different, so that would actually change him from being Canadian. I mean, Pedro Pascal could be Canadian.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
Pedro could pull off a Canadian.
But he also
That's
could
fine.
be a Hispanic guy that fought in the Battle of the Alamo.
Yeah.
I
that too.
mean, he could still be you could do whatever. I wouldn't really complain if Wolverine wasn't a Canadian guy. I mean, I know it's really central, but
This is something that we always beat over and over again in the show, and I'm just going to say it again. The MCU has never said it's going to be a direct interpretation of the comics. It is it is an interpretation, and it's his own thing. And honestly, that's a good thing. If you could know exactly what was going to happen based on reading the comics,
that would be
what
different.
would be the point of watching it?
Exactly.
Yeah. You already know what's going to happen. There's no spoilers.
How can people get mad when we call the MCU 616 and then expect everything to be just like comic book 616?
Well,
you can't say it's not 616 and be mad when a black guy is Reed Richards. It's not the comics.
The other thing with that too is, going along with that same sentiment of it's got to change. Because just like with Werewolf by Night, with every other project they've put out, it has to change because guess what? There are so many different stories and different iterations of these characters in the comics alone.
They made Jack Russell Hispanic. He's Native American in the comic books. They completely changed that, and there was nothing wrong with it.
The She-Hulk series is based off a specific
except for the last episode.
It's based off of a few. But a lot of people were complaining because she didn't get a blood transfusion from Bruce. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. That's not essential to her character.
The blood
character's been written by more than just those writers that it's based on. So that can change.
And that original comic was honestly kind of the way it happened was cringy anyways. Bruce only came to town to hide with her, and then immediately as he gets there, she gets shot, he does a blood transfusion, and he just dips without telling her a damn thing.
But then again, that's kind of how this show felt too. He kind of gave her the accidental blood and dipped.
But he didn't even wait till she woke up or saw that she had powers. So this was honestly a better interpretation because he actually tried to train her and move her along, and then he had to go deal with some stuff.
Let's be honest. How crazy does that sound that Bruce Banner, an actual professor, he has doctorates, he knows more about his condition than anyone, would just give a blood transfusion to his cousin? We're talking we're talking about a guy that, since they've now made the Incredible Hulk canon, we're talking about a guy that worried that his blood went into a bottle of juice.
Yes, and then went on a whole thing to cure it because of it.
You wanted this super smart guy to just give his blood to his cousin, even though
the leader
knew that there was probably going to be side effects?
He might do that. But yeah, I know. It's really... But again, just like I was getting ready to say about this, back in those days, the writing was shoddy, and they had to fix, and we're having to improve upon it.
Needed to happen,
yeah. And back then, it was a straight white male dominated industry. So of course, all of the heroes were straight white males.
Yep.
Now it's not like that. So we have to adjust to fit what the world is now.
We have to make things,
and they don't get that. And then they get mad when we call them what they are.
Yep.
Honestly, I just want to throw that line from Stan Lee himself where it's like, the world of Marvel will always be a reflection of the world outside of the windows. And it needs to constantly evolve as the world evolves. The old comics reflected the point of view of the world then, and now it needs to reflect the point of view of the world now.
But if we
back in the day, you had heroes who were white beaters.
Yep. But
are you kidding me?
If we can keep getting special presentations like Werewolf by Night, that maybe they're not comic book accurate 100%, but they feel like what they should feel like, then I'm happy. I'm happy with that.
Yep.
You got things that look like that. I mean,
right? You sprinkled like the TV shows when they do the little comic book accurate costumes.
Yeah,
and they sprinkle that in there. Love it.
It's amazing. Well, guys, I think it's time to get to ratings because I have a Rocky Horror Picture Show to go catch. So let's
start with Nerdsquatch.
Let's start with Nerdsquatch. How many Squatch prints do you give it out of 10?
10.
10?
It's literally my number 2 MCU project. And only because I love Winter Soldier so much.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not just saying this to say this. I literally cannot find anything at all to complain about this, so it gets 10 out
Nothing.
of 10. 10 out of 10.
It's
Yep.
perfect.
And I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 bear claws. This is overall probably best rated thing that we've ever
agree.
rated. So I thought it was very well done. I can't wait to see more projects like this. Can't wait to see these characters in future MCU projects. That would be great. Marvel, make it happen.
Have y'all heard about the fact that, you know, the leader might be after Ted because he worked on Super Soldier Serum?
Ooh.
I think that would be dope if the leader's also trying to get Man-Thing's blood.
Are we just going to turn him into the Hulk now?
What if he just showed up in New World Order out of nowhere?
Yeah, or
That's
at least
the
gets
stuff I
mentioned.
love.
Yeah.
When comic book characters would cross over where they don't necessarily fit,
Mm-hmm.
please do it.
That would be great.
Like they rip down a curtain on a cage and it's just Ted.
I was reading a 9-page comic on Marvel Unlimited that it focused on Wolverine, but Hulk showed up at one point and Werewolf by Night showed up.
Moon Knight was first. Characters first appear in other people's comics all the time.
It's where the Punisher showed up was in a Spider-Man comic.
Which is nuts, but yes, he did.
Yeah. Super crazy.
It seems
two
so off
opposite
the
ends.
walls.
This brutal murderer, and
He's hired to kill Spider-Man. Yeah. Oh man. Before we go, just real quick, off the top of your heads, anything else that y'all are going to enjoy for Halloween, or that you did enjoy for Halloween, since this is coming out on Monday?
I'm going to be at work, and then whenever I get off work, I'm probably going to come home and play some video games.
Everything
I might dress up my
Yep.
Fortnite skin onto something Halloween, because I got all those Halloween skins.
Fortnightmares is going on right now. If you want to join us, I think our Xbox gamer tags are somewhere on our Facebook page. If not, we'll put them in the episode description. Come play Fortnite.
Bearded Brian guy, come.
Yeah,
Bearded Brian guy. Let's go play some Fortnite.
Yeah, come play Fortnightmares with us. I know that I want to talk about it eventually. I did watch Hocus Pocus 2 a couple of weeks ago with the kids. I thought that was very well done.
Witches are back.
I thought that was just great.
Y'all don't know the absolute joy that came across my face when I realized it was Elton John. How fantastic. And then Ant-Man did the same thing.
Yep.
And then Quantumania comes out with that trailer that has Elton John. I was so happy.
It's amazing.
Oh my god, that old man. I have not gotten it out of my head, but every 5 minutes I'm just like, thank you, Spider-Man. Have y'all seen I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson? Okay, so when you're done, go look up that and then Focus Group. That old man is in that video, and I'll send it to y'all. It is so funny. So funny.
Someone said that if Stan Lee was still alive, he would probably be the one saying that line.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you dressed up Ruben Rabassa to look like Stan Lee, he probably would look just like him. I would be okay with them dressing. But again, Deadpool in a wig and a sweater and a mustache and glasses. Just do it already.
Just do it.
Or Kevin Bacon. No, I'm kidding.
We're not going to do a talking nerdy segment in the show today, but I do have a request for all of our fandomites that are listening. Send us your Halloween photos of you in your costumes and
I'll
what you
send
did.
you mine.
And we'll probably post ours on the Facebook page at some point. Definitely send us those so we can talk about them next episode. And in the meantime, also, if you haven't signed up for the Patreon, go do so. Going to be 3 live episodes dropping on there pretty soon. We have one from MobyCon, one from Mississippi Comic Con, and one from RidCon that we just recorded. Sorry, it's taking me a little while to get those edited, but real life and
life
trying to
happens,
get
man.
the show out.
We need to do a ranking of all the MCU shows for the Patreon. I think that'd be a really fun video.
I think that'd be fun too.
I have an idea after this to talk to you guys about.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, in the meantime, like and subscribe the YouTube. go follow us.
That's on all your socials.
Subscribe to the Patreon.
Follow, like, don't forget to
Follow,
comment. Blah, blah, blah,
share,
blah.
hit that like button in the face.
Smash
Whatever.
that like.
You know.
Punch the
Uh,
like button. Don't
feels
punch
so
your
weird.
phones.
Hit it like, hey.
Uh,
No, I'm kidding.
And we're gonna get out of here. I've been the Bear,
I've been the beard.
And I've been Nerdsquatch.
and we want to remind you, as always, to stay awesome
Stay bearded.
and
And
much
much
love.
love.
We'll see y'all next episode for She-Hulk. Until then, we're out of here.
Boom, cut the check.
That was totally wicked!
Thanks for checking out another episode. We hope you enjoyed it. New episodes are released every other Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Check back then or subscribe so that your device downloads it automatically. Audio episodes are available pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, so it's really easy to share them with all your nerdy friends. For YouTube viewers, subscribe and click the little bell so you're notified about all our new content. Links to talk nerdy to us can be found in the episode description as always. You can chat with the Bear, the Beard, or the rest of the Bearded Bear team, head researcher and graphic designer, Mama Bear, the social media sorcerer, Nerdsquatch, the master of marketing, Han Bralo, the master merch fabricator, Tyler the Great, or any of our public liaisons, Mama Kim, Katie Cat, or JB. Huge thanks to them, the geeks of the round table, and all our awesome friends of the cast. Much love, y'all. Lastly, for more cool music like this awesome outro track, go check out Harlequin Soul, Secret Apex on Facebook and Spotify. His links are in the description as well. Talk at you next episode, nerds. See you then.
If so, stay away from around me. Welcome to the end. Are you a fan or just pretend? I like to